Good day, everyone. My name is Onyinye Ejike. I am the CEO and the creative director of the Velvet Expression Event Company based in Lagos, Nigeria, and in Houston, Texas. Um, I'm into event planning, coordination, event design, event architecture, everything. Basically, we're a one-stop shop for all your event needs, both in Nigeria and the United States of America. I started the Velvet Expression about 10 years ago, um, basically from nothing. I would put it that way. So when I started Velvet Expression, I was still a banker at the time, and I used to work with then Skybank PLC, now Polaris Bank, and I was a marketer and an assistant banking officer. And I worked in Skybank for quite a while, and I knew at some point that I have always wanted to do events. So I'll just give you a little bit of the background. My mom is a caterer and has been in the event industry all my life. So I can practically say I grew up, in the event industry, and everything about events fascinated me at the time. So I've always wanted to be an event person, but the typical African mother, was afraid what you want to go and be decorating parties, how, where do you see the money, and she just felt, I have an accounting degree. You should either be working in a bank or a financial institution. And of course, family pressure and the need to, really have your day-to-day living expenses being paid, I had to get a 9 to 5 job. And at the time, I'm one that when I put my mind into something, I'm very dedicated and I put my mind into it, but I wasn't fulfilled. And I say it today, that fulfillment, the lack of fulfillment rather, made me know I needed to start up my event company ASAP. Now, Velvet Expression is the second event company I actually started. A lot of people do not know that. I started a first event company called Unique Events, and it failed woefully, as in woefully. I dusted my CV back and went back to the job market, and I went to look for a job and, went back into the banking industry, went into advertising, IT. I really went through several industries. But at the point when I was in Skybank, I knew, and by then, like, I had a roadmap to on how to start the business. And I knew the roadmap was have a certain amount of savings and just start. So basically, I put a figure to it, asked myself how much was my salary every month? How much would I need to survive in a year if I wasn't working? And I practically sat down and started saving that. The minute I saved up what I felt was comfortable enough for me not to have to beg any family member for upkeep, I woke up without my family's consent. I dropped my letter. In short, I told them after I had dropped the letter because I knew, the backlash I was facing. Oh, don't resign. I was getting deals here and there, just little peanuts, but it never took flight. And I took myself, leave my job, face the business. And at the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, I'll go back and look for a job. Done it before, and I can always do it again. So the minute I put that fear to rest, I got that courage I needed. And I dropped my resignation letter. And I would like to be very clear in whatever we are doing, make sure whatever organization or paid employment you want to leave to start up your own business, leave properly because you do not know the weather, the storm you're about to weather in front. So leave properly. I resigned properly, made sure I spoke to every boss that had been, crucial in my, will I say, progress in the organization, gave them a reason why I was leaving the paid employment. Some supported, some did not. But at the end of the day, it was on record that I did the right thing. Fast forward to now, 10 years later, I have colleagues in the bank. I have former bosses who are willing to invest in the company, who are looking to be part of my team. And today we're a household name, in the event industry. And I would like to put it this way. When I started the Velvet Expression, I mentioned earlier, I started from nothing. When I mean nothing, the capital I had was just my savings. And thank God for my background, my BSc background in accounting, I was able to put a budget in place and ask myself, where and where did I want to start from? What area of the industry did I want to target and be a household name. And I started from decor. And from decor, I went, I now fully went into planning. And it was just, it wasn't an easy experience, but it was an amazing experience because I've seen myself evolve. And challenges have come. Definitely, challenges have come. But I will tell you the easiest way I have tackled those challenges. I remind myself the reason I got into the business in the first place. And I always make sure that I have, what's the word? I have a strategy. So every January I get up, I draw up a strategy. I have a board, as cliche as it might be. I write it down. I write down my goals for every year. I don't think 5 years. I know a lot of entrepreneurs think 5 years, 10 years to come. For me, Mrs. Ejike, Velvet Expression CEO, I think every year at a time. And then I try not to compete with the people in the industry because it will swallow me. So what I did from the beginning, I made myself my own competition. So for every year, I try to draw up a plan. I use my last year as my competition. If I made X amount of money last year, I had out of clients last year. I had X amount of prospect last year. I like to add a 50% to whatever I had last year as my target to myself and my team for this year. So once I meet that target, I don't care what any other person is doing in the industry. What I know is I am moving forward. So that kept me focused. That kept the momentum. So even my team, when we're having team meetings every Tuesday morning, and they're like, oh, this other company, I'm like, focus. Don't look at what other people are doing. Where was Velvet Expression last year? And where is Velvet Expression this year? And to God be the glory, by now, I've seen a lot of people that have even left my organization to start up their own. And they're successful just because of this particular strategy. You are your own competition. You are your own competition. Every other thing everybody is doing outside, for me, was just a sort of encouragement to tell myself, if they can, then I can do it as well. It might just take me a bit of time because you don't know what capital the other person is working with. You don't know what background that person is coming from. You don't know the family influence that person has. You might be just starting up from nowhere. Your family has zero influence, just like mine. And today, the influence that is also backing up my family. I've created a lot of influence with my current, and that's the good thing about what I do. It makes you meet a lot of people. So I have met a lot of people that in my widest imagination, I never felt I would. So that's basically it. So any business anybody needs to start, the first advice I'll give them is make your research. What does it take to be successful in that industry or business you are trying to get into? If possible, create case studies. Don't be afraid to talk to people who are already in the industry. Speak to people, ask them questions. If you're doing bead making, if you're going into clothes selling, there are people that have done it before. Now, I am one that everybody says you like to ask questions. I ask the silliest questions. To me, I have this adage that anybody that asks questions can never miss their direction to a destination because you would definitely see somebody who has passed through that road before and give you a couple of tips, no matter how little. It will avoid certain mistakes that would cost you money. It will avoid certain mistakes that would cost you emotional breakdown, and it just gives you an edge. So if it's possible to find a mentor who has been through that road before, it helps. I unfortunately did not have that, but what I have started doing now is create that avenue for those coming after me to be that mentor they need because I never had that. It was very, very stressful for me to start up my business. But I've seen a lot of people who have passed through not just my academy, but even passed through my company as staff, and they are excelling just because they ask questions, just because they've seen mistakes I have made, and they avoid those mistakes. And, those hurdles they would have faced was practically removed from the picture, basically. So it's important for us to know there is nothing that cannot be achieved. I tell my team every Tuesday morning, the worst thing that can happen to any client, any prospect is to challenge me and say, oh, I know your company has not done this before. Can you? That will end up being the most successful event I will have that year. no matter how little, because I have a point to prove. You have not only questioned me, you have questioned every member of the team. Be that leader you want others to see. You understand? Be that leader, because it takes a lot. Starting up a business is not just about you, it's about the people you are even going to end up employing along the way. If you do not take your businesses serious, no other person will take it serious for you. Carry your market on your head as much as possible. Everybody knows me. You meet me today, I start talking about what I do. I don't care how silly it makes me look, but you will remember me for something. I've had people who have called me afterwards and they're like, oh, there was a time you mentioned you're into events, and randomly an opportunity comes up and they just remember me, or their current event person just somehow is not available or does something they're not comfortable with. Oh, there's one lady that we met at one family gathering that has been raving about, let's just give her a trial. And that has opened so many doors and pushed me into families that I have become their permanent event people for so many years. So I think that's basically a roundup. I hope I've been able to cover everything. I was trying to be as fast to put everything into perspective.
I can imagine. You're trying to put 10 years into 10 minutes. I understand how difficult it could be.
Yes,
okay, let me just ask one question. So right now, now you have now scaled your business beyond just being in Nigeria. You've also scaled it internationally.
Yes, I have.
So give us an idea. How large is your team in Nigeria? How large is your team in the US?
Okay, so the US is a startup. There is a new branch out, which we just started a few months ago. So we basically are like 3 team members now in the US. I'm here to also expand like the team. But in Nigeria, I have a team of about 18 people. I have a team of about 18 people around all walks of life. Carpenters, we deal with a lot of people. Carpenters, both the artisans and the educated, all of us, we are about 18 people, yes, in Nigeria. But Velvet Expression started with only me. I was the social media marketer. I was the content creator. I was the one posting. I was the face behind the brand. I was the one. Sometimes I know how to use a drilling machine. I know how to use anything you can think of. Things I never knew in my wildest imagination I would be able to do. But because I also have a drive for excellence, so for every time, and my workers know, even if I'm not at that event at that point in time and we are decorating, and if you like, finish all your work, I see a small mistake, we will start over again. So they know. And if they say, let her come and do that, I said, I will climb the ladder, I will do it. So another advice, in whatever you are trying to start up, have a good idea of how it works, how it can be created, because you wake up one day and the staff can draw up everything under your feet. But if they know that even if they resign without notice, your business cannot suffer, you have to, because I see so many companies, so many entrepreneurs, they open businesses, for example, hairdressing salons, and they do not have an idea of hair textures. They don't even know hair products. They don't know nothing. They are expecting that is what they call it. They're expecting that is going to be staff that they are going to rely on. As much as over time, you're going to build a team you can rely on, but it's not going to be an easy road. So make sure whatever you're trying to start up or invest your money in is something that you personally, no matter how busy you are, go and learn the basic hairdressing. Go and learn it. It is very important. There are too many online classes now, so whatever busy schedule, like me, I don't have any certificates from events. I am self-taught. People go to my page today and like, how do you know how to be? I'm a florist now. I did not go to anybody to teach me. I sat down in my house. I will go to YouTube, because then how much did I have to go and get any academic, qualification for it? I needed all the money I could use to sink it into the business. So the only option I had was to look for free tools, which was YouTube. I went to YouTube. I looked for free trainings. I looked for free tutorials. And then I'll go out to the market. I'll buy these things. As I'm looking at it, I'm making them myself. And over time, I have trained people. I now charge people to teach them what I learned for free.
Yeah.
So there are so many ways to save money when you draw up a budget. Ask yourself, which family member do I know that does this, that I can tag along with? And then being a mentee to somebody doesn't necessarily mean what you can get and what you can get from the person. You need to ask yourself, how can I add value. Because if
To
you
this
have a
person.
mentor and all you are doing is take, at some point, the person will get exhausted. So the best way is, how can I add value? Being a mentee is just like service. So you might think, oh, I'm here, I'm picking after this person. It's okay. As you're picking after that person, you are learning things you would have paid millions of naira to learn. You're learning them for free. You're studying the person closely. You're understanding the mistakes the person is making or has made. And when you start up your own fully, you will see that those mistakes will be avoided. And over time, you'll be a household name. And then they have to be patient. It's when you're starting up, you have to be patient. You have to be patient, very patient with yourself, very patient with the business. And if you fail, like I said, I failed in the first company. After about a year, I came back. And now, maybe the second time was the charm. But I learned a lot from the mistakes I made in the past.
Thank you very much, Onyinye. This is very inspirational. This is very instructive. Alhaji Aliko Dangote once said there's no business he does that he doesn't understand the A to Z of it, even though he's not an engineer. He's not a petroleum engineer. He's not a cement engineer. He's not a rice engineer. Thank you very much for sharing so unselfishly. God bless you. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you so much. And enjoy the rest of your evening.
Yeah, thank you.